Hello beautiful babes. Today we're going to do a quick get ready with me using some of my current favorites. We're going to start off with the Huda Beauty Foundation in shade Custard. I put one pump of that onto a Makeup Forever mixing plate, and now I'm using the LC Cosmetics Velvet Sponge to blend all of that out. Next, we're going to go in with the Born This Way Too Faced Concealer and going to be applying that all over my face in areas where I want to highlight a little bit more. I'm using the color Light Beige. To set everything in, I will be using the new Huda Beauty baking powder in shade Pound Cake. I've really been enjoying using this powder. It's so finely milled. You almost have to be careful when you're applying it because it could just kind of fly away, but it's amazing. And make sure you keep that black stopper. Without it, it seems like you might have dust everywhere if you kind of shake it up and then open it to use it later on. The sifter itself is really awesome to kind of use your damp sponge to dab into. That's what I will be doing in a quick second. Taking the LC sponge, I'm dabbing the pointy side into the product and taking that to kind of lightly highlight underneath my eye. And on top as well to make sure the creasing from the concealer is set into place before I get a chance to blend everything out with eyeshadow. Now taking the fat end of the velvet sponge, I'm going to dunk that into the powder and set my entire face using the same powder. It works just as well. I use it more of a translucent powder versus a baking powder, and it does the same effect. The dampened sponge helps the powder melt everything into place so it looks very smooth and seamless. Next, I'll be doing my brows. I am using the ColourPop Brow Boss in shade Dark Brown. I've really been enjoying using this pencil. I've gone through countless of them. I like to brush up my brows just to make sure I get all of the powder and some of the foundation kind of removed a little bit. So when I go in to draw on my brows, it's a little bit easier and smoother. Then I'm going to be taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel in Clear. This is a really awesome mini I've had for about a month or so, and I'm still going strong with the product. I like to feather my brows and brush them up and set them into place so it can look like I have a little bit more of a fuller brow happening since I lack in the brow hair department. Now I'm going to zoom you guys in and show you what's happening next. So we're going to be taking a sponge that takes away the product from a brush instead of washing it. It's called the Clean Sweep. The original concept, from as far as I know, was developed by Veramona. And I'm going to be going in with the Morphe E27 brush to blend a nice sheer color onto my lid using the Dose of Colors and I Love Sarai palette. I'm going to be going in with the light peachy shade first to lay down a quick base so everything else that I'm going to be using after sticks to it. I like to take the brush, put it either at the edge of my eye near the corner or middle lid, just so I can kind of blend things out and it's a little bit more seamless so it's not too pigmented on one end versus the next. Next, I'm going in with the Brick Red shade to add a little bit more depth into my crease. We're using the same brush as we're trying to get the same effect where it is nicely blended out and almost seamless. Then we're going to be going in with the middle gold shade to create that sunset type vibe. I like to use my finger whenever I'm applying any kind of shimmer. Personally, for my eyelid and my taste, it works better. I don't want to deal with the whole brush and wetting it and all of that. So just using my finger, I get really great payoff. There is a little bit of fallout even using my finger, but that's no big deal. I just take a Sigma fluffy F35 brush and I just kind of dust all of the fallout away. We're doing the same thing on the other eye, creating a nice smooth transition between the three shades and then blending in the shimmer shade just to make sure that there are no harsh lines. And that's what's left after I've applied the product onto my eye, so it's heavily pigmented. Then we're going to go in with one of my favorite mascaras. It is the LC mascara in color black. The wand is amazing. It gives your lashes so much volume and so much length. My only complaint about it is that the stopper that's inside is not tight enough. So when you pull out the brush, there's a little bit too much product and you have to wipe bits of it off. And then right above my lid, you see the three little dots of mascara. That's totally fine. Leave that be until it dries, and then you will just take a Q-tip or some kind of a spoolie and just brush it off. If you try to clean it up as it's wet, you're just going to smudge and smear it everywhere, and it's going to be a big pain in the butt to clean it up afterwards. What I like to do is take a little Q-tip. You could use any type. This one is a little bit more on a pointy end. I got this one from CVS. You just take it as it dries up, and then you just sweep it away. Then for the bottom lid, for the tight line, or lower lash line, I'm going to be using a small E35, I believe this one is, from Morphe. It's a very small shader brush or a blending brush for the lash line, and I'm just using the light peachy shade that we started with to kind of blend everything out and make it seamless, and so we can layer the darker shades. Then I'm going in with the darker brick red shade to add on to that. And then what I like to do is connect the two edges of my eye right by the corner, outer corner, just to kind of give it a nice blown out look. I really like that smoky blown out look. I'm just demonstrating how the sponge cleans all of the residue product off of the brush so you're ready to pop in with a new shade on the same brush. For this one, I am using the lightest champagne shade within the palette and taking the little brush to blend it into my inner corner. The shade works much better with your finger than it does with a brush. It took a little bit of building up to get it to kind of show, but still, it's a pretty awesome color. I really like the shade. Taking the mascara, I'm going to be applying a nice coat to the bottom lash line. When I apply mascara, I always like to have the mirror almost facing a little bit, maybe 45 degrees down from my face, just so I can look down into it. That way it helps me not get as much mascara all over my lids. So once again, I'm going back in with the Q-tip just to clean up some of the residue of the mascara once it has dried up. Then lastly, we're going to be going in with some bronzer, highlight, and blush. So I'm using the Tom Ford triple set which comes with a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. The bronzer is really awesome. I have light medium skin, and I like the light kind of dusting of bronze versus a little bit more intense. I feel like that should be reserved for nighttime, just so you could look a little bit more kind of glowy and bronze. But for daytime use, I don't want to go a little bit too overboard with bronzer, especially because my eyes are a little bit more bronzy. So thereafter, I'm going to be going in with the Anastasia Blush Trio in Party, I believe it's called, taking this light cool pink shade to blush my face up a little bit. We're going to be using the Morphe E4 for that. It's a really gorgeous, slightly sheer shade that doesn't have too much pink, but it gives you a very light flush of shade, so it's not too much and it's not going to be interfering too much with the eyes. Then we're going to go in with the Dose of Colors and I Love Sarai highlight in Soulmate. This is a relatively thicker formula of highlight, gorgeous, but it's a little bit thick. So what I do in order for it to kind of be a little bit more blended and seamless on my face, I will take a much more denser brush like this one to blend in the product. Using a denser brush helps to blend it into your skin and makes it look a little bit more natural and sheared out versus being a little bit too chunky and cakey on your face. And then we're going to be adding a little bit to the upper brow or the temples. And then with whatever residue is remaining, we're going to be adding a little bit to the bridge of the nose, as well as a tiny amount to the tip, just to give it a nice Rudolph glow. And then, of course, the Cupid's bow. And then taking the blush brush once again, I'm going to be using it without any product. I'm going to be tapping it over the blush and the highlight just to melt everything together to make it look like one unit versus 3 segmentations of color. And then for lips today, I'm going to be using the Persona Cosmetics Liquid Lip in shade OG. I've really been enjoying this. It's such a gorgeous, darker nude shade that goes amazing with the sunset eye look. It's very monochromatic, and I love that. So it is a wonderful complement to the eyes. Not to mention, the liquid lip is super comfortable to wear, and it applies beautifully. It's not streaky whatsoever. And then here's a zoomed up of the color. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Bye.